So
Get the addiction
that's what I'm
out
doing.
there.
Yeah, you got it. First hit's free.
Yep.
It's free.
I wake up in the middle of the night. I can't sleep. I just start a new webcast.
It's a great way of doing it.
What is that? Half Trump, half COVID?
Yeah.
But I've had all kinds of fun things. Like, what are the drugs John is taking? This stuff works great on my throat.
Is that ivermectin?
No, this is Chloraseptic.
I've been doing ivermectin. It doesn't help.
I tried snorting it. Is it supposed to go like?
It's an enema, John.
It's a suppository. Suppository.
Yeah. That's why ivermectin's not working.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something ironic about someone who's taking bovine medicine calling someone who's wearing a mask a sheep.
I've never thought about it that way, but you make an excellent point.
It makes a lot of sense, Joe.
I may have used that as a rebuttal when I got bought at a few times.
Yeah, you gotta be careful because this show's not political. We're not.
Yeah, we try not
charged.
to be that political, but at some point,
apolitical.
At some point, what happens is John just tells Ryan to kill it, and then we.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So we want to talk about the effects of globalism, the capitalistic society in the late 1800s.
No.
It's like no.
I mean,
Ryan, pull it.
Actually, on that topic, from a geopolitical perspective, apolitical. Did you see where 7 new countries are joining the BRICS?
What does that mean?
BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa.
BRICS, not the Brits. I heard that as the Brits.
The Brits? Is this a new band?
Correct. No, but I do need to hit John up about a song that I tweeted about.
I did see that on Twitter, and since I'm in my basement, I might be able to make it work out since you've already gotten the lyrics written for me. And it seems like whenever I do shit while I'm on COVID, I forget it all. Like I've taught 2 classes last time I was on COVID, and yeah, sure, what the hell? Let's roll.
Cool. I would try to help you out, but I can't carry a tune in a bucket with a lid on it. I'm the guy that karaoke bars pay to make people leave at last call. No, but they're adding Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and UAE.
This is, if people are very interested in this has to do with the petrodollar supremacy in the global marketplace as far as if you buy oil, it's been in dollars. And I think the last big sale in India went through in rupees, as a matter of fact, which, by the way, this does mean something. Like what exactly at this point, we don't quite know. We had somebody said, I'm not even going to try to read, Tarfont said it's an economic bubble. It's all an economic bubble. Have you seen how our stock market works? Oh, wait, we should probably get to the computer security stuff.
Yeah, we will dive down and we won't come up just like that Titanic thing that we all heard about.
Well, as someone who was on submarines, the fact that they used carbon fiber is probably the more troubling thing as opposed to 6 inches of high yield steel.
I love that part of the whole thing.
I think the most troubling part was that there was no windows and you were watching it on a computer screen.
Whoa. There was a window. That was part of the design flaw, is that there was a window.
Something stress fractures.
But hey, John, he's just disrupting the submarine industry. You know all about that, right? Disrupting industries.
There was an interview where somebody asked him a very pointed question about like the constant reuse and microfractures that are inherent in carbon fiber being used at that pressure depth. And he responded back, you know what the problem is whenever you're trying to be an innovator and a disruptor is people. He tried to kind of channel Steve Jobs's like speech.
That's
from
right.
Years ago,
Yeah. Well, there's certain industries that probably don't need to be disrupted. Like they're just like staying alive. That industry doesn't need to be disrupted. Like let's just keep
underwater. It's not one of them. We need something. We need something new. All right, Ryan. Let's roll the finger. Let's get to it.
All right.
Hello and welcome to another COVID edition of Black Hills Information Security Talking About News. In this edition of Talking About News, we're going to be talking about cybersecurity firm SentinelOne explores a sale because things haven't gone well for them.
Easy.
Juniper looks at Fortinet, gets jealous, and says, stand back, y'all. We have our own remotely exploitable vulnerabilities. Mass cyber attack shuts down a whole bunch of telescopes all around the world, proving yet again that cyber attackers are assholes. Lapsus court teenager catches a shark. We're going to talk more about that. WinRAR 0 day. NIST publishes draft post quantum cryptography standards, and move it. By far is still the #1 hack of the year. So I don't know how long I'm going to be here because I said this is a COVID edition. Am I sure it's not just a cold? I'm surprised. You can see that everybody is aging out in my age group because anytime you get sick for years, people would be like, is it a tumor? And you would say, it's not a tumor. But no, this is COVID. Once again, sharing. I have the COVID pink eye, or Joe Gray farted on my pillow. One of those two things. He admitted it as much. It's probably not COVID. It's just
It was,
bad.
yeah.
You can't test for those pillows.
John, you got to watch what you say approve to nowadays.
I know. It's just now that now that I'm involved less, approve. So let's jump straight in. So I want to talk about the SentinelOne. As I have Brazil's biggest escort service suffered a massive. Nope, that's not the one. The SentinelOne thing is interesting because in this industry and the total like garbage dumpster fire sale that is the entire financial part of this industry, a lot of these companies that get big, they have like 3 options, right? Either just be a good company and grow naturally, continue to get Series A, B, C, D, E, F funding until somebody's caught holding the basket with a name like Microsoft or Cisco, or the other one is to go IPO. And they went IPO, and things actually were pretty good for them. They started investigating a sale, and then what was it? I can't remember like how much they've lost since COVID.
They've lost like 80% of their value.
Like 80% of their value. Like, oh dear God.
So,
go ahead.
Yeah,
They're laying off 5% of their employees as well.
Yeah,
wow, that's
all
given.
the venture capitalist VC security startup, crush, right? So,
yeah,
I mean, they wanted to create a company, IPO, right? Somebody got a bunch of money, and now they're like, hey, let's see how far it goes, right? And then it stopped going, and now they're like, oh, all right, money's gone. All right, everyone out.
So, okay, in the story, they list a bunch of, potential buyers. They list private equity firms, Toma Bravo, never heard of that.
Bravo, of course.
Toma Ping
Bravo.
Identity, ForgeRock, never heard of them. Sailpoint.
Very big.
But, okay, here's the question, though. Is there, like, some unstable billionaire that could buy it and just run it into the ground?
Oh,
that's
yes.
the best case scenario.
Yes,
Like, because that would just be fun to watch. Like,
Now,
we've seen it with social media.
Mhm.
I mean, you've heard it here first. It's going to become
John,
Sentinel
I
X.
mean,
Sentinel X, where we're going. Yeah.
So, John, I mean, not to you know anyone that can buy it? Like, just like write a quick check. I mean, there's got to be someone.
I
out
do,
there.
but they would get mad if I just outed them.
Trust me.
And I have a couple of people I know that if I told them to, they might do it, and then they would regret it later and be like, "You gave me bad financial advice." I'm like, I'm a guy who sells shirts that says proudly sucking at capitalism in his basement. Like, why are you listening to me for anything at this point?
Well, so somehow the market value is still $5 so we can't just
Yeah.
crowdfund it. Like, it's not GoFundMe territory yet. But if it gets cheap enough, maybe we could all just put it.
You
put
know
some
what the
money
$5
together.
billion is? It's all the other investors that are in it right now, hoping that it goes up. Like, it's just like who's left holding the bag right now.
That's what's going on exactly. Like, I mean, I think you nailed it. I did find it interesting that one of the investment firms, Advent, acquired McAfee for $14 billion. I'm so sorry, your investment firm Advent. Like, that was a bad purchasing decision.
You know what I think is funny though?
Were you forced into that? Like, did you talk to anybody in the computer security industry before buying McAfee for $14 billion? Like,
Did they do a background check on John McAfee?
Stable genius.
Stable genius.
I think it's funny though. One last thing about SentinelOne is that it's actually not a horrible product.
No, it's not.
But like,
yeah.
No, it's a great product.
Like, to talk about the company is one thing, right? But like, what it actually does has value. But what we're saying is that it's really inflated value, right?
Yes,
like, it was. They sold it way more than it was, and now that it is being tested, everyone's like, nah, it's not going to make any more money. This cow's done milking, so we got to let her out to the
You
pasture.
mean EDR isn't going to save the world even if we put blockchain and AI on top of it? Are you kidding me?
CrowdStrikes. So I love this is sad because I've been in this long enough that I can kind of see whenever like companies start getting into trouble. And for marketing, SentinelOne bought a McLaren F1 and they made it a driving, like,
couldn't think of a
people
better way to do it.
with disabilities, like, and they wrap. Yeah, that's what they say, right? And I know that there is a Silicon Valley type story behind the purchasing of that McLaren F1. It's like, we wrap it with our logo. Yeah. It's a tax deduction, right? Oh. And it's like, yes, sir. Yes, it is, sir. So,
meanwhile, we have a card game that we give away for free.
We do.
Anyway.
I mean, in all honesty, actually, I have something that if anyone from SentinelOne's listening, that they might actually be able to rebound with. Cylance actually divested away from the home EDR business, and I mean, there are other people doing it, but I mean, go that route.
I'd buy it. I'd buy SentinelOne if it was like, I don't know, $100 a year for a family subscription. I mean, it's this really solid product. It's just like, I'm not paying $1,000.
What, you wouldn't? You would give up? You would cheat on Panda?
Oh, I would cheat on Clam AV too.
Clam AV? You can't cheat on Clam AV because you didn't buy it.
Yeah. Clam AV don't care.
Listen, I paid for the premium Clam AV subscription just like I paid for WinRAR. That's another one we talked about last week. We might as well follow up.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. Like, where do you all think this is going to go? Because they went IPO, the stock crashed. Everyone's running around trying to figure out how they're really, honestly, at this point, once again, nothing against SentinelOne as a product, but it's incredibly overflated. They're really like, when are we going to call it what it is? They seriously want to find some suckers who are willing to pay overinflated price so they can be the last one holding this hot potato hand grenade. Like, and I don't know. I've talked about this a lot. It's one of my axes that I grind a lot on this show, and it's just frustrating, right? We see this again and again and again, where you come up and, like, once again, SentinelOne is a good product. I don't think it's the best in the space, but if you're looking at MSPs, you're looking at pricing model that actually works for getting it across multiple different customers. SentinelOne is phenomenal in the MSP space. So seriously, like, when are we going to get off this train of constantly dumping bad money into companies and, like, really try to focus on growing good products over the long haul?
Whoa. So that would mean that you have to care about the outcome and not just the return on investment.
Exactly. Well, but even the return on investment, I mean, if you're willing to take incremental, like, dividends on, profits that are being made, I have no problem with that.
We got to make that money now. I got to make it all now.
Money now based on speculation. So we need someone to hype this. And by the way, if you're looking for a webcast that is willing to try to hype your product for inconsequential amounts of money, you can talk to us. Maybe we'll take it.
I mean, we do have a snake oil convention.
We do have a snake oil. We have a snake oil convention. Your product could be part of our snake oil convention. Absolutely.
Our vendor rates have never been lower.
They've never been lower. Come on. Why do vendors not like us?
Because we make them bash themselves on our webcasts. Okay. Like the vendor. That's how we should do it for snake oil. The vendor entrance is $0, but you have to give real criticism of your own product.
You got to self-criticize. Like,
you have to be like
socialism.
You have to be like, here's what we know are the weaknesses of SentinelOne. Number one, the Linux agent. You can uninstall it with RPM. Oops, that was a 0 day. Sorry, never mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about WinRAR because we talked about it last week. We talked about it. We found some amazing people in Discord, by the way, messaged me and said they like actually sent me the proof that they had bought WinRAR, and I was like, you are amazing.
What?
So, I know.
I missed 1 week and you find a unicorn?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Multiple unicorns. People messaged me and told me they bought
they paid for it. like
Yeah.
with money.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, I mean, I will say in the receipt the one person sent me, it was 99 cents. So
You know, at that price though, I feel like it's just the toll you have to pay for being a Windows user.
It's like, hey, now is this your dad's credit card?
Yeah. If you
so-
steal my credit card, please use it to buy WinRAR. Anyway,
So that O-Day though was
it's been
actually
fixed.
getting used.
It's been fixed, right? But
Yeah.
it's still being weaponized because turns out people don't update. We've talked about this. What will trigger it? So all we have to do is SZA has to talk about it. Then it's
that'll
worth
solve
fixing.
it.
Yes.
Yeah, because my grandparents and uncles,
don't have enough
aunts,
followers.
they all read the CISA alerts religiously. Oh, Madlock's coming on! CISA alerts first, everybody.
Gosh.
Yeah, that's how it works.
They did discover this is okay. Shocker! It's being actively exploited in the wild right now.
Yeah, we are using it. I mean,
Yeah.
we should be.
Which makes sense because I'm pretty sure if I look over here on my Windows computer system, my WinRAR version that I have on it, I'm sure is the open source freemium version that was probably installed like 4 years ago. I'll have to go check that.
Well, if you see some malware called DarkMe Goo Loader or Remcos Rat, just don't click that. It'll be really easy to tell.
Wow, I usually run anything that says rat. Round and round, dun, 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 dun. What goes around comes around. Sorry.
No, that's rat with 2 T's.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, thanks, Hal. That would have helped.
Yeah.
don't.
Remote access Trojan tool?
So there's also 7-zip you can download for free also as an alternative. So you don't have to pay.
Okay, Captain Obvious. You also want to tell people that it's going to be integrated into Windows 11 as well?
No, I want them to find that out when they release the release notes.
On their own.
Mhm. Yeah, that's something you have to discover. This is part of the process.
Reading the release notes, is there a website like tosdr.org for release notes?
Modern Laugh just said the nag box when you open WinRAR has red security warning about updating. I updated on my Windows host, but I haven't paid for it yet. Apparently that nag screen works for security, but not
for
you being a
paying.
human
Yeah,
being.
exactly.
Modern
So-
Laugh.
Oh,
not
trust me,
paying.
if you're still using WinRAR, you're paying for it.
What kind of business model are these companies coming up with, giving things away for free in the hopes that people will pay for it? Oh shit! No, wait. No,
Right now, if you're using WinRAR one way or the other, you're paying for it.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're not paying for the product, you are the product.
Oh, that one's
Also,
evergreen.
Joe, to answer your question about is there a tosdr.org for release notes, that's just SZA. That's what that is.
Okay.
That's
Here on
the
out.
people that John's joking about that are like, oh, I only update when SZA says to do it.
Gotcha. That must be why
seriously. Go ahead, Joe.
that must be why the eyeball in Vegas did not get attacked successfully during DEF CON. I heard that they put a warning out expecting hardcore pornography to be broadcast upon it.
But I guess they weren't
once you
using
put out a
WinRAR?
warning. It kills the fun factor and the surprise.
Yeah,
I know.
I stayed up late every night just waiting.
Well, I mean, when
That was why you stayed up.
when DEF CON had to be evacuated, I was like, hey, where's the eyeball? I want to see if anything's going on with the eyeball.
What?
I know.
DEF CON had to be evacuated. I missed this. Sorry.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
a bomb threat. You weren't
Bomb
there?
threat.
Wow.
There was a suspicious package. Someone had been at a firing range and had a certain substance on their hands and touched a package that then got bomb sniffing dogs to sit.
Yeah, 2 separate dogs
Wow.
flagged on it.
John was busy reliving his teenage years flipping burgers in Sturgis.
This is
No,
also
it's
very true.
That's not a lie. Hal's actually right about that. I was flipping hamburgers in the BHIS parking lot, which, speaking of which, on a good note, completely unrelated to computer security, was half a block away from a bar that had Hairball playing like 4 nights of the rally. So that's why I'm coming with the 80s hair metal references. It was delightful. Hairball is fantastic. You get a chance to go see them, if not repetitive as hell.
Wow, we have a parking lot now? I feel like we finally made it. I can't wait to camp in my car in that parking lot.
Come on down. It's going to be a good time. So,
Is it like
By the way,
Cracker
we're-
Barrel?
what?
No? Okay.
No, we're not like Cracker Barrel.
Oh.
Or Walmart.
There's no rocking chair? Okay, I'm out.
Okay. I
No
can get you a rocking
checkers.
chair.
Well,
Just
I mean,
let
you
me
can you can get the camping rocking chairs at like places like Academy Sports.
Good point. Good point. Speaking of which, our booth at DEF CON, by the way, thank you very much, Joe, for coming and sitting at our booth. From here on out, any of the booths that BHIS has, we're going to buy things for the booth that local homeless shelters are in need of. And when we're done with the booth, we will be handing all of that stuff over. And moving forward, we're also going to be a drop point where people that are attending the conference can drop off goods. Like you talk about those camping chairs, they need those. Sleeping bags, they need those. It's not just like a can of creamed corn. Like people are like, oh yeah, like homeless people, I'm sure love creamed corn.
Expired too. Thank you.
Expired creamed corn.
Yeah. So it's funny that it's funny you mentioned that, John, because at the booth, which I was there many times and so much that I got COVID, it was great. But the thing is, people would come up and ask because they would read the thing that said, "Oh, we're donating all this to charity," and I would be like, "Yeah, we're donating it all to charity," and they'd be like, "Can I leave this?" And I'd be like, "No." You like this is the whole thing about the suspicious package. I was like, I was the suspicious package because people kept coming up and being like, "Hey, do you want this bag to donate?" I'm like, "No, stop giving me suspicious packages." But now it's going to be a thing, so we'll have to have a bomb sniffing dog.
We'll have to deal with that.
Yeah, we just have one poor dog that has to smell all the packages. This is great.
I'll bring my dog out. My dog just loves everybody. They have a bomb. I don't know, but he pet me. I love him. He's taking me home now.
If John's dog doesn't like you, you are definitely
if my dog doesn't like you, something seriously wrong is going on. Wow, I took this place completely off the rails.
You sure did, didn't you?
That's what happens when you
have John, I have just the NIST publication for you. We now have, and this is going to change everything. Flip your qubits, people, because we've got post-quantum cryptography standards from NIST.
Quantum.
And these are just a draft, so make sure you review them, put them through your quantum analysis, superposition, etc. Make sure that you, make some changes. What is this? I mean, is this actually, like, are we there yet? Is there quantum computers that I don't know about?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely
quantum
qubits, computers, right? Like wave. Okay, so here's the problem with quantum computing as far as the way most people look at it, is they think of a quantum computer as a standard general purpose computer. And when you're developing a quantum computer, even if you're using qubits and all these different things, it's not. You're usually building a computer and you're building the system in a way that is very specific to a specific mathematical problem that you're working with. So it's not like you're going to have like quantum on your phone.
So you're saying it's like an ASIC.
I'm going to randomly send up these password hashes and get it cracked. That's not what that's going to be used for.
Does it run Crisis? That's what I need to know.
Yeah. Can it run Crisis?
Well, is it possible to load ChatGPT on one?
Yes. Yeah, you probably shouldn't hook those two things together. I think I'm going to say no at the point at right now, but for future generations, that would be a very bad idea. That'd be like crossing the streams, Ray.
That's how Skynet got started.
You got to make some like Star Trek, Star Wars references here.
Yeah,
like, they're clearly fans, both with like the Kyber crystals, the dilithium crystals. I'm like, there's some nerd working this
fun fact though, they do. Time crystals are a thing that actually is used in physics. Somebody, I love Brian mentioned run Doom. That would be so awesome. Someone shows up on this multi-billion-dollar like quantum computer that's the size of a fridge and super cooled, and you walk in and they're like, "What are you doing? Playing Doom?" So
yeah. So okay, basically what I'm going to do is make a phishing campaign that says we need to upgrade our website to be Dilithium, Falcon, and Sphinx.
Yeah.
What is Sphinx Plus?
You do that shit, and then I'm going to get a whole bunch of emails from funding companies because I already get like 4 or 5 a day. It's going to go to like 50. They're going to be like, hey,
preparing for Q Day featuring John Strand.
You're in quantum AI and dilithium crystals. Well, we have money to throw at you, sir. So,
and it seems like they're referencing the cool Q, not the modern day Q.
Oh,
so again,
don't even get started about that Q.
Is this a Picard reference? Because I haven't seen Picard.
No.
Well, no.
Q is from the original. Yeah, that's
but he's also in Picard too.
Well,
yeah.
He's also in the January. Anyway.
Yeah. Woo! Train wreck of a show. This is
awesome. We're going towards that political area. We don't towards the no-go.
We're flying close to the sun.
I will discourage the talk of that Q. This is a blood pressure cuff, and my numbers have been good lately. Let's not talk about the other one and make the numbers go up. How's that?
Dude, go on.
Okay, on that news, why did someone shut down telescopes of the Cyberattack? Are they trying to hide?
So
Why?
I go to Reddit. So you all
Aliens.
it's aliens.
Aliens.
That's what they're saying. It's aliens. Apparently 2027, the aliens are supposed to finally be revealed, and they're flying around and they're shutting down the telescopes because I don't know, reasons.
Well, didn't the government say there was already aliens, so we can just all go home?
I mean, I guess okay. People are saying ransomware, so
it's not aliens; it's ransomware.
Well, no, aliens use ransomware. It's just
Yes,
like reveal
that's
us.
how you can get us in the end.
The ransom is reveal us to the public, or else we delete your data.
Oh, that all of a sudden makes sense. So but I do have a question. Seriously, like, there's a lot of alien wreckage. Like, if the TSA had a flight record of like alien aircraft, I don't think any of us would ever fly. And if they're really super advanced, I mean, why are there so many alien wrecks?
Wait.
But that's assuming that TSA would have the record.
Yeah. Why would the aliens go through TSA to get on that flight?
You're right.
Yeah.
That's the problem. The aliens don't have the TSA or
Yeah.
system.
So
that's why we're going to be able to hack their shit when they come. They're going to be like, if we only had a government organization that could tell us which vulnerabilities to patch. The humans are clearly further ahead than we are.
They have clearly stepped away from the Department of Security theater.
Exactly. You just trusted everybody. I don't know what's going on. I don't know, but God.
So basically, you're on Showdown. You type in telescope, and then you see like 200,000 results, and you just go through them one by one until you find a real.
You're looking specifically for the VNC viewer ones on port 5900.
Yes. You connect to it, and you're like, it's the Gemini North Observatory or whatever, and you're like, I'll just ransomware it because that's the least interesting possible thing.
Show
like,
off
at least
your friends. Like,
at least use it.
Move the telescope.
I mean, at least go try to look for aliens with that telescope as opposed to ransomwaring it, you know?
Right?
No, they're ransomwaring it because they want the pictures of the aliens the telescope took.
Why didn't they get those pictures and just post them?
Right.
That's the ransomware angle. If they don't pay, then the aliens get posted.
But that's because they couldn't get to the hotkey for the screenshot.
Yeah. It's harder on DLC.
You know what's going to suck? I'm going to throw this prediction out there, even though I think it's wrong, that we're going to get to like 2 years down the line, and they're going to be like, these telescopes were shut down by the U.S. government because aliens. We're going to be like, well, shit. that whole thing it doesn't seem as funny now. Now it's kind of, wow.
I mean, now it's just real.
I will tell you that back in the early 90s, and Michelle Crabb will back me up on this, we had this guy who kept constantly trying to hack into our systems at NASA because he was convinced that we were sitting on all of this information about, extraterrestrial aliens who had visited the Earth.
It's on the alien share at NASA, right?
Yeah, I mean,
right? That's why they have Alienwares.
It's the A drive.
This kind of conspiracy theory nonsense hacking has been going on for so long. It's ridiculous.
And it's come circle again now for the third time, Hal?
Yeah, I mean, at least.
I thought there was a series of breaches about 4 or 5 years ago. I want to say it was at Jet Propulsion Laboratories. And the attackers were specifically looking for evidence of aliens. Like, they came right out and they're like, we didn't find anything. It was a bunch of math and stuff.
I mean, it was kind of a fever dream, but at one point, a huge crowd of people did gather at Area 51.
The Naratu running group, where they were going to Naratu run towards the fences. I talked about that on this show. They were like, you really think that the United States government would shoot people that are running into Area 51? And it's like, yes, they have nukes there. There's no question they will shoot them.
Well, actually, the social engineer in me says that this would be a good time to remind people of the X-Files theme for this year's Wild West Hacking Fest.
Damn, he's better at this than I am. Wow. Go, Joe.
Yeah, but for the telescope thing, and even when you said like the jet propulsion, it may really just kind of come down to adversaries trying to maximize just their money. Because a lot of times, if you just go after like just your standard business, Windows server, you ransomware them, they're just going to go, oh, that's okay, it's all backup, just wipe and restore. Telescope may be the type of thing to where it's like, there's a high likelihood that either they don't have a lot of backups, or restoring those backups is just going to be so painful that the adversaries are looking and saying, there's a high likelihood that they'll just pay to get all that research.
Yeah, I don't think there is, because like these people, like especially these telescopes and stuff, they don't have a lot of money. I mean, having worked with a lot of these groups, they're constantly under threat of getting shut down. Like it's pretty ridiculous.
And they share it pretty widely, right? I mean,
and the question is how much of that data is actually kept at the telescope, and how much of it is sent to universities or other government agencies that aren't getting ransomed.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily the type 2 or 3 ransomwares, or whatever you want to call them. I think it's literally like, hey, the telescope isn't moving. Pay Bitcoin to make the telescope start moving again. Like, I think it's more like operational more than data. That would be my guess. And that's why they go after them, because it's like for every hour that this telescope is down, it's X number of dollars in government funding that can't be used. And then it's like, and I know because I have friends in this area that like, if you want to do something, like say you're like, oh, I have an idea. I want to look at this black hole. It's like a year or 2 backlog. You can't just like log in and do your thing. So maybe it was one of these researchers. It was like, I have a really good idea.
I know how to get us moved to the front of the list.
But yeah, I would guess it's more operational, and it's because there's a lot of money. Like telescopes are expensive to run, so I'm guessing that's why. But I don't know.
I've got
as long as we're on the ransomware front, let's talk about Cloud Nordic, right? So it's a hosting cloud provider in Norway, and like they got totally permeated with ransomware, and they're basically telling all their customers, sorry, your data's gone, we're not going to pay the ransom, and
what?
Like exactly what. So basically they just declared information bankruptcy. It's like, yep, we got
like
hit with
office style. That's like literally office style declaring bankruptcy. I declare bankruptcy. It's not
the attackers succeeded in encrypting all server disk as well as any primary and secondary backups, and we lost all access to all data.
Oh my god!
And they're not going to pay it. Like, can we crowdfund it? Like, seriously, it can't be that hard. Can we just? Is this how I buy a hosting company?
This is how a hosting company goes.
So it got me thinking though, right? Like, how in the real world, like if you've got an undesirable piece of property, or you need to get rid of like this pesky like historical building so that you can build your new high rise. A little bit of accelerant, a match, and you burn it all down, right? So like I'm wondering if ransomware is going to be the arson equivalent for undesirable tech companies. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. We got hit with ransomware. I guess we're going out of business, right? Maybe that's what's going to happen to SentinelOne eventually.
That might be
ransomware. It'll probably be Alienware.
What? No. What? Does anyone know the size? Like how big is Cloud Nordic? Are we talking like some guy with
it's not that big. It wasn't a home lab, but it wasn't like,
neither was it Amazon.
Like the scale. It's not an Amazon. It probably isn't close to like a DO. I don't know how many.
We offer the lowest cloud storage hosting because we don't back anything up.
We don't care.
And we don't pay people to like actually operate our network, other than attackers.
How are we the lowest cost? Don't ask. We're cutting corners in every possible way.
We're cutting corners you don't want to see.
Oh my God.
Turns out. Yeah. I mean, that's rough.
We've got backups. We keep backups on the servers that we're backing them up.
Okay. But going down this rabbit hole a little bit further, like they're not liable. Like I'm thinking this through. So let's say you're a cloud provider. Let's say something like DigitalOcean, and you get hacked like this, and you're like, nope. Sorry, we're not going to pay them, and you're all screwed. Like, you could get money or get refunded for the service that they provided, but I don't think that they carry enough insurance to cover the actual damages to all of their customers. So, like, seriously, this is like a crazy huge liability.
This has happened a few times over the years. I mean, Hal's totally right. It's like the only way to light the match and walk away and this has happened with I think it was Code Books or something this happened where they got ransomware. They had it was all AWS based. It was like a software as a service. Yeah. Someone got in as God and just deleted everything in their AWS account, and they're like, we're out. Like, we're done. Like, we're shutting it down. Like, we're done. Like, we're not reopening. So
it's funny. We have a company that we did a pen test for. Was a cloud service. It wasn't like a cloud service provider, but it was a cloud service. And literally, they just respond back to our emails now. They're basically like, we're out of business. Sorry. Like, but you owe us like, $30,000-$40,000. And they're like, oh, sorry, what part of us going out of business do you not understand? Like, they're still communicating
get to the back of the line.
But they're basically like, yeah, sorry. We're not going to be paying anything because we're not a real company. I'm like, why are you responding to our emails? This is really weird.
It's really too bad.
Literally, they just did that. They're like, nope, the F out and walked away.
It's really too bad because there is a part of me that wants to just, I mean, you'd have to know Danish, but like you could just like go fund me some ransomware dollars, go buy the data package, just start this hosting company back up. It's like some kind of weird, like, yes, it's burned to the ground, but we can unburn it. And then we just have this building that's just like here.
Well, yeah, but they own all the drives and stuff. I mean,
you can, I'm sure if you give it enough time, and you go hopping on Telegram, it'll probably be on some Russian Telegram or paste it in or some torrent. Give it a few weeks, and you'll be able to restore your data from backup. Just make sure
2,300 rupees.
Yeah, make sure to get some Bitcoin or some Monero, and you'll be fine.
That honestly gives more points to Hal's argument that it's seriously just like a self-sabotage because like it can't be that hard to restart your company. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, maybe it is. I guess it's like.
But you know Hal's right. You know that there was conversations at this company, and they're like, "Yeah, this is way too much bullshit to deal with."
Yeah, they just didn't want it. They're just like, "Nah, we're out."
I mean, the alternative would be have some polarizing billionaire buy it from being publicly traded and rename it and try to drive it to the ground that way.
They're busy buying SentinelOne. They
oh my god! I've got what is it? It's Quest, CenturyLink. I can't remember all the names that they're at, but they just renamed themselves, I think, for the 5th or 6th time. Like
Comcast.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's peel back the curtain and look at what the people who are executing these attacks actually look like and do. They're the glamorous life of ransomware hackers. So this article is the Lapsus. Court finds teenagers carried out hacking spree. There's a great picture of what looks like a 12-year-old holding a shark.
Shocker.
And he's actually 18.
My favorite part of this one is the fact that they were releasing the Grand Theft Auto previews from the hotel where they were in custody on bail.
Yes.
That was freaking awesome.
That is the glorious life of it. If you're wondering what being a cool black hat looks like, you imagine like this sick cyberpunk, like you're playing loud music, you've got like 50 screens. Turns out you're just on a crappy laptop in a Travelodge hotel on bail.
Not crappy laptop. He used a Amazon Fire Stick.
What?
Yeah.
What? No, I've got to. Where is that in the article? I missed that.
So there's a separate article from Hackaday that it's just like I think it was there down in the bottom for like he
it says here
that hacking spree 3.
I got it here. It says prosecutor says he was caught red-handed when City of London police searched his hotel room. In a flagrant disregard for his bail conditions, jurors were told that police found an Amazon Fire Stick in his hotel, allowing him to connect to cloud computing services with a newly purchased smartphone, keyboard, and mouse. This kid is hacking Rockstar Games on a phone that is going through. Honestly, like, okay, I know he, needs to learn morals and ethics and all that thing, but really, if I ever complain about my laptop ever again, someone send me this article. If I ever complain,
you need more RAM.
Hello, my name is John Strand. You may know me as the owner of Black Hills Information Security, and I'd like to record a special message for every single pen tester at Black Hills Information Security. Whenever you decide that you need a top-end MacBook Pro in order to do computer security hacking for our company, I want you to think about the last post kid and how he did it with the Fire Stick. The next time I send you a brick of a ThinkPad.
A Fire Stick and a Travelodge like what would their internet connection be? Like you probably have like a internet connection of a swivel stick using an Amazon Fire and you're still honing Rockstar Games.
This is basically it's the Iron Man thing. It's like Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of rocks.
I mean, and people want to hate on me for my love and affinity for Raspberry Pis.
No, who? Okay, I'm gonna call bullshit. Like
that's illegal.
Like
you can't hate on Joe Gray.
That
you
people
can't
are
hate
like,
on Joe.
Joe is into Raspberry Pis. People are like, oh god, icky. Like who? Where? Everyone loves Raspberry Pis. Everybody loves pie, Joe.
It tastes delicious.
I agree. I will tell you to protect the guilty after we go off the air.
Oh, I've got to hear the story because I've never heard anybody, unless they have like some other form factor that's like, well, I think this one's better because it's got an Intel based CPU.
You got to have a rock pie, bro.
You got to rock it.
They're not
Actually,
fun.
Actually, in my Amazon cart right now, I'm going to play with an orange pie that's coming up. But,
the other flavor.
Nice.
But yeah.
But I think I have 3 of them within arm's reach of me. I love pies. Like every problem can be solved with a Raspberry Pi.
I got so many SBCs, it's ridiculous.
If I did not have my virtual background up, I would turn around and pick up my Pelican case that's got like the entire lab environment that I took to DEF CON in it.
I bet it's insane.
It's got.
Is it a bunch of Fire Sticks?
They're all Fire Sticks.
No. That I'm gonna have to buy another Pelican case for those. No, it's got 2 Raspberry Pis, a Jetson Nano, the whole router, different Wi-Fi hacking cards, the Hack 5 stuff, badge cloners, Flipper Zero, all kinds of fun stuff in it.
Dude, I have nothing but respect for you, but those days for me are over. Like now, whenever I go to cons, it's maybe a notebook computer and a phone. Maybe.
Yeah.
Like
it's
just.
I will say that taking 2 Pelican cases of gear. I learned that I need to condense down to 1 Pelican case, but I will have said Pelican case at Wild West Hacking Fest.
Yeah, it's nothing but a side satchel and a couple pairs of underwear for me. Like I'm just done. I've gone through the other side.
But I think
I just can't.
I mean,
Hal remembers my suit days. I used to carry a huge suitcase with suits. I used to wear suits everywhere. So
wow.
I mean, according to the Navy, you can get 4 days use out of.
Totally didn't work. Thanks, Al, for letting me know, and I didn't listen to you for a decade.
So if it's not a what do you call it, an Amazon Fire Stick, right? Just note that it's probably some kid because they don't have any they have limited ideas of like the repercussions of their actions.
Oh yeah, right? And if you're under 18, you won't be doing any time.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. The UK is pretty gnarly. He probably will never be able to Google anything for the rest of his life.
What I think is funny is that like people think when these big hacks go down that it must be by someone who's got tons of years and years experience. No, just someone who.
No, Ralph. See, didn't you read the security breach disclosure? It said it was a highly advanced threat actor.
Advanced threat.
Oh dear God!
It's not
because I wanted, if we can get the actual breach disclosure from Rockstar, where they talk about highly advanced attacker and then with a picture of the kid who's
holding a shark, but it's actually a fire stick.
Cutting edge nation state attacker.
Hey, remember Matthew Broderick in War Games, right, man? It's a TRS-80 and an acoustic coupler, and it's good to go.
Does that make you feel like a little scared though to think about it? Not necessarily that this person did it, but just like the level isn't where we all think it is, right? We all think sometimes, or like it's here, but it's just like
let me inject some reality. I love the memes. I love the memes, but let me throw in some reality. Okay. I'm guessing, and this is all speculation, just like everything else I ever say, but I'm guessing when this kid is posting, he's posting data that he already has. It's not he's actually doing the hack. I mean, maybe he is. I would guess he's more just like he has the data, he wants to leak it. He's leaking it from a phone using a Fire Stick. That's just his exfil point. He's not actually doing the hack from the Fire Stick. That's my guess. It's more about the disclosure of previously breached data. But maybe not. I mean, I could be wrong.
If I remember correctly, he was buying these creds on an open market, right?
Yes,
like the previously compromised creds. And I think that kind of gets to what Ralph is talking about, pulling this back into something when we're talking about what's the threat model? What are the Russians doing? What are the Chinese doing? CISA, please tell us what attackers are. They literally just bought previously compromised creds. And we have like our own system at Black Hills Information Security that's pulling down breach data. We're sifting through breach data all the time for our pen tests. Like this is something that a kid actually could do in a hotel room with a Fire Stick.
The other one too is, and this is obviously was common during this attack, and it's still common now, is a lot of the cell phone, the SIM swapping. Right, this is another like big technique too to like kind of move through. The second factor and getting to these other accounts or getting access to other things that require some kind of SMS notification and other things like that. So that's also, and like, it seems like in that SIM swapping world, teenagers are kind of the lead on this because they're willing to take this high level of risk, to just get, whatever.
Well, and
I mean, how hard is it to
go ahead?
How hard is it to go on Amazon and buy, a 12-pack of Mint Mobile free trial SIM cards?
Turns out, not very hard.
And I mean, also the thing I want to highlight here is I think that with these groups and like honestly, what it outlines more than anything is the power of a community. Right, like this is like pertinent to us as defenders or as good guys. Guess what? If we don't team together, we're losing these attackers totally team up. They totally trade back and forth. They trade information. They trade techniques. I guarantee you, this is the only kid that's smart enough to say, or dumb enough to say, yeah, I'll try to use the breach credentials at Rockstar. Like everyone else is like, no, I'm not doing this because I don't want to go to jail because we know they're litigious. They have lots of money and this is a high profile thing. Like everyone knows that if you're the kid that does this, you are not going to it's like you won't see the light of day until, I don't know. But
so what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the pen testers of BHIS. I'm just going to get a bunch of high school kids and I'm going to put them on one side. And then I'll set the target and be like, over there is the way for you to get to Minecraft at school or porn. And, all you have to do is hack into this network. They're going to be in so fast, like highly motivated to actually successfully breach organizations that way.
What was that joke that Paul Asadorian used to say on Security Weekly all the time? If you want a free internal pen test, just disable social media and cat videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
My other quote that I love from him is every time you hit the easy button, God deploys another bot on your network. And I've used that one for years. So
okay, one more article that we should cover because John mentioned it during the intro. This Juniper Junos OS flaw.
Junos.
Another. We've got PHP strikes again.
Combination of flaws, right? You got to chain them together.
Yeah.
But when you chain them together, it's unauthenticated RCE. So
written in PHP.
What is it? I think it's funny. They're like cumulative CVSS of 9.8.
How does that add them together? It's like a combo, right?
You just add them together.
We got a
5.3 and you got 5.3.
5.3 plus 5.3
equals 9.8.
It's CVSS math,
Yeah, there's a 9.6, but they didn't pay the extra gold for CVSS, so that's 9.8.
Does anyone know how often is Juniper feels very old school to me? Is it used? Is it
no? Yes, they're
they're a cash cow. There's a lot of companies that are complete Juniper shops that have been for a long time.
Well, it's running PHP, so now we know.
That's how you know it's good.
And anytime I see these PHP vulnerabilities, I think of Dave Attell, who I have this weird love-hate relationship with at Immunity. Where he's like, if anything is running PHP, period, it is vulnerable. And I got thinking about that the other day because Dave finally released something after DEF CON. Daily Dave is amazing. It's very, very low noise, not a lot out of it anymore, but he released something that was a great write-up of DEF CON and Black Hat. And I got to thinking about that. But yeah, that whole anything written in PHP is inherently insecure is pretty much something that you can say for any coding language. Like anything written by a human being.
I think it's interesting too when you bring up John about PHP is that there's a lot of other more modern frameworks out there, like web frameworks that React and other things like that are significantly better in lots of ways, right? But people still have. We still have a lot of major players that are running PHP, WordPress, for example, right? But it just kind of blows my mind that these things.
Yeah, it's like the Java thing when Log4j came out. Everyone's like, well, duh, don't use Java. Well, it's like there's this huge skill set. Like if you went to college between the years of 2000 and 2020, you learned Java, right? Like
Java is still everywhere, and it will be for a long time.
Yeah, because there's thousands or tens of hundreds of thousands of people that's what they code in. So companies are gonna use that.
Yeah,
but, So this one, this is internally, right? Like, unless I guess you expose your JWeb interface, which apparently is the Juniper OS management.
Well, I'm sure someone does. There's no doubt about that.
To Shodan, yeah, probably.
To Shodan.
But
this is one that if you haven't patched it by now,
you're already done.
Compromised.
Right.
You're done.
You're not listening to the show. You're not subscribing to CISO alerts. You're probably compromised and don't know it.
And BHIS alerts.
From an IR perspective, this is one of those, gifts that's going to keep on giving for me. It's like just like all the FortiNet vulnerabilities and MoveIt and all of these other ones. we go into these companies for an IR, and it's like, okay, please tick the boxes. Which of these devices do you have on the perimeter of your network, right? I mean, because that's where we're going to begin our investigation.
Yeah. And it's sad because when you start going down those lists, like if you remember how like 5-6 years ago, like post exploitation, like do you still have Telnet enabled on your networking devices? They're like, well, yeah. How else are we going to be able to manage these devices? You stupid moron. You're like, oh God.
I will say, if you got a pen test within the last, 20 years, it probably said don't expose your management interface to either the internet or to the internal network at large.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also probably said patch your firewalls. So, this is not really like.
But then I wouldn't be able to work from home.
Yeah. So that management interface too, even management interfaces that are designed to be, when I say, I'm going to use air quotes, like designed to be exposed publicly, they shouldn't be exposed publicly, right?
Ever.
I mean, even WordPress, the login, you should just take that off, like whatever it is, just get rid of it, because it just takes a whole attack surface out of the picture.
No, but you don't understand. Here's the scenario. I'm the admin. I'm the only one who knows how anything works, and I just flew to China, and now our network's down. What am I going to do?
Well, you'll figure it out.
Actually, if you're in China, there's probably a group right down the street who already has access.
Yes, they already have access.
Just ask around. Does anyone have access?
Yeah. Who has this? Like 5 hands go up on the street, and you're like, oh, okay.
If you took your work computer, you might even be able to talk to the perpetrator.
By the way, lots of love for the Chinese hackers. Everyone on this side of the ocean and in the security industry in America says thank you for allowing us to continue to have employment and keeping us employed.
Also, if our nation hacked some really gnarly stuff, we apologize for our government, just like you totally apologize for yours.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
I do like how they match. Like I was looking at this is just a random tangent, but looking at the Microsoft Cloud 0559 or Storm 059 or whatever it was, like they were like part of their data like analysis was most of the attacks were clustered within the business working hours of China. Like that was part of their like. So I was just thinking like throw them off, work weird hours.
Well, it's funny you should say that because in one of Meta's adversary reports, they outed the U.S. federal government for the exact same thing for a disinformation campaign against Russia during U.S. business hours.
They're like, it's just funny to me. It's like, all right, welcome to, the People's Republic of Hacking or whatever. Your hours are going to be U.S. business hours. like it's not that hard.
China, if they're doing their pig butchering schemes, they do work U.S. business hours.
Right.
So maybe they should send the people working pig butchering schemes to go off and take.
They're already working nights, right?
So okay, is it now America is working Chinese business hours and China's working American business hours?
Well, that's
so weird.
If they wanted to be successful, when I'm teaching an OSINT class and I'm talking about identifying an adversary, that's one of the things I tell people to look for. Hey, look at the times that they post on social media. See what you can figure out.
Speaking of additional detects around this, in the MSP space right now, everyone's up in arms about the number of proxies. Apparently, a lot of attackers now are using proxies because Office 365 is really clamping down on impossible travel. This is something, Corey and Ralph, I think that we had talked about BHIS, like what's the ethics of using these really shady VPN services that literally turn everyone who's using the VPN into a VPN like exit point, right?
Yep. Like a Tor, but you didn't opt in.
Yeah. But there is now like as much as we talked about that, 2 years ago, or is it a year and a half ago? Like actual attackers now are using those VPN services, choosing to come through the United States so that the impossible travel isn't starting to get tripped.
Oh, yeah. So, it's a required technique at this point because geolocation blocking and improbable traveler are like the two biggest things. I will say like browser fingerprinting kind of kills it anyway, but at least on the attacker side, that's what
apparently on the MSP space, the way that they're doing it, it's working. Like the attackers are being able to like do password spray.
Oh, because they're not fingerprint. Right. Yeah, because they're not fingerprinting.
Yeah. And like, I guess in a lot of these VPNs, like I've seen them where you can choose the US, Great Britain or whatever, but some of these VPN services will be like, yeah, you can come from Kansas or you can come from
no, John, you don't even want to know. You can choose an ASN. You can choose like this is I want to be Comcast in this neighborhood in this area. Like it is like ridiculously specific with how like you can literally say I want to be from Overland Park, Kansas in this /23. Like it is really specific.
Yeah. And by the way, what we decided at BHIS is to not use those services because we're pretty sure that they're probably capturing everything that's going through them. And
that SSL error, I should just ignore that, right?
Yeah, just ignore that. Click accept that certificate.
Okay. You should probably hop on a different VPN first.
Yeah, do a VPN within a VPN and then nest it with another VPN, and then you're safe.
Hop on a trustworthy VPN to then tunnel through the untrustworthy.
Yeah, I still feel icky about the whole thing. So
it's pretty icky.
My thing about that, Joe, is you absolutely could do that, but you still have an issue where they understand where the target is, and that
there's still an opportunity for. I mean,
it's like
at some point, key exchange still has to happen, and at some point, somebody's still going to keep logs here and there, and no matter what, there's still going to be some level of net flow.
Exactly.
Yes, net flow is what gets you.
Net flow.
And I don't want to answer that question to my customer. Like, what's the VPN you're using? Nord.
Nord.
Don't want to.
I saw it on TV, so it must be good.
No, Nord would be fine. Any VPN provider that doesn't keep logs would be fine. It's the companies that it's based in Israel, and they're definitely selling the data they're gathering.
You are talking about Cape Technologies, and they used to run a adware tracking firm. I forget what it used to be called. They own PIA, ExpressVPN, CyberGhost, and about 8 others that I'm aware of. And they also maintain somewhere in the ballpark of 30 to 50 VPN review sites. That's why I pretty much tell people Nord, Proton, or Molvad, but understand the differences from a legal perspective between Panama, Switzerland, and Sweden.
Or if you want to be a real cool, just build your own VPN.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there are reasons to do that and reasons not to do that.
Yeah. Oh, you're very attributable, but yeah.
Yeah. Depending on what you're doing and depending on why you're using a VPN, going for something like running your own open VPN in the cloud, yeah, that absolutely makes sense for some threat models. But you have to factor in that you're going to be at the mercy of something along those lines.
Oh, you got to just wear a big cape whenever you go on the internet so everyone knows you're that guy.
Yeah.
Well, and you should always, we wear tinfoil hats. I'm wearing a ball cap now, but when I start to do investigations behind my green screen behind me, I actually have a tinfoil fedora because I'm paranoid doesn't mean I need to be tacky.
All right. So did I ever tell you about tinfoil, Joe?
I don't think so.
I'm really, really sorry. So, there's certain frequencies that brainwaves work on. And by the way, this is all true, what I'm going to tell you. There's certain frequencies
I feel like you didn't
brain emanates. Like seriously, like there's certain frequencies. Those frequencies are controlled by the United States government, specifically the NSA. Going further into the tinfoil hat, if you actually put tin around your head, it amplifies those particular frequencies. No joke. It's absolutely true.
You have to use gold foil.
You have to use gold foil.
Yes.
Not kidding. It's a conspiracy.
Is that why they put that on the Mars rover? I knew it.
That is why they put it on the Mars rover. So if you want to be truly safe, Joe, I'm telling you right now, it's time to go gold foil. And by the way, we are going to be selling gold foil hats at some point in the Spearfish General Store. We're looking at how we can get them.
Oh, perfect. What about aluminum foil, though? Is that a good intermediary until I can get hold of some gold?
No.
Aluminum also amplifies.
We'd recommend lead as a stopgap. So just take apart some batteries. It's super
lead
safe.
Shirt, something you can sweat in.
I mean, if lead is good enough to absorb nuclear zoomies around a nuclear reactor on a submarine, it's probably good enough to absorb government zoomies.
You're damn right.
It also helps with neck. If you ever need like really strong neck muscles for like other reasons, then you can have that there.
And I'm so happy that this time it wasn't taken off the rails by me. Oh, well. So with that, I want to say thank you, everybody, for coming on to the show this week. I won't remember it, but that's okay. It's recorded. So with that, Ryan, take us out with the crooked finger.